Hey there, Ricky Shockley from Med Spa Magic Marketing, and today we're going to be going over a simple checklist that you can use to outrank your competitors on Google. So we all know the truth is every day people are going to Google and other search engines and they're actively searching for the services that you offer. And if you're not in that game and you're not ranking prominently, then that means every day potential new patients are calling your competitors and booking appointments instead of doing that with you. And that's something I don't think any of us want long term. And I know there are plenty of spas that are busy right now, and you're kind of happy with where you are. You might be booked, ahead a decent amount. But there's a lot of disruption in every industry, and things change. And I think it's very, very important to be on the ball with some of this, or at least to have some awareness, so that when you want to hit the pedal to the metal with some of this stuff, you can. I just got off a call with a spa owner last week, and she was talking about how 10 years ago, everybody in town knew who she was. She was like the only person performing some of these services. They were super busy. And she admitted she took she took her foot off the gas when it came to marketing her practice. And now she's struggling for patients and she's struggling for relevance. So with that said, I think this is something to keep in mind. If you're not in the game with Google, every single day you're losing new patients. Every new patient that comes in means lost referrals, and it's just a snowball effect. That's business that even if you're booked out, if you want to be aggressive with growing and expanding and staying booked out and even maybe being able to raise prices, staying on top of your Google search performance and your Google search rankings is very, very important. So what you're about to learn, we're going to completely demystify and simplify SEO. By the end of this, you're going to have a really clear understanding of how Google and search work. I know you've probably over the years heard a billion different things from a billion different people, got cold emails out of the blue that are largely junk related to your website and all these things that are going wrong that try to kind of shake you and get you rattled up. But the truth is, when it's boiled down to its essential elements, SEO is really easy to understand. And by the end of this, you're going to have an idea of how search engines work, how to check for and ensure your website has basic on-page SEO elements required to rank, how to properly set up and optimize your Google business listing, how to leverage, really important, how to leverage off-page SEO to outrank your competitors, and then some ongoing strategies and cheats, little tips, pro tips we have for ongoing SEO success. So by the end of this, you'll be able to manage your SEO efforts, hire and monitor everything you're doing from a search marketing standpoint more effectively for years to come. And that's going to make you a better business owner, a better manager, a better marketing manager. And it's going to ensure that you're not spending money with SEO professionals or outside SEO people that aren't really doing a good job of moving the needle. And if you understand the elements that the levers they need to be pulling to make a difference for your business when it comes to search, you'll know what questions to ask. And it's going to make you better with your SEO investments. So why should you care? Again, every day people are searching for your services in the city that you serve. I just, before this, got on our keyword research tool. There are over 250,000 people every month just looking for Botox or Botox near me in the US. That doesn't include every other variation like Botox doctors near me, Botox providers, Chattanooga, Tennessee for your specific city. So quite literally, millions of people every month across the United States are using search to look for providers that offer your services in the place that they live or work. So if you're not in this game, you're missing out on business. Other than a referral from a friend, search is generally the number one way customers, patients will find and select the businesses they choose to work with. So I strongly encourage you to pay attention, kind of put the phone down if you can, and really tune into this. I'm going to keep this short. I'm going to be to the point. I won't waste your time, and we're not going to throw any fluff in here. So in 45 minutes or less, we're going to go over everything I just mentioned on that last slide. You're going to have a really clear understanding of what you need to do to win in search. If you stay till the end of this video, I've also got some bonuses. We've got an ultimate checklist for med spas. That's kind of just a blueprint you can use for all of your different marketing initiatives to make sure that you're not missing anything. And we'll also do a free SEO rank report where you can see where you currently rank for top services if you're not already monitoring those things. And we'll run a technical crawl report just to see if there's anything major going on from a technical standpoint that could be hurting your SEO standing. So who am I and why should you listen to me? In addition to being the owner of Med Spa Magic Marketing, I've had a business, Shockley Marketing, which I've had for 10 years, specializing in helping small and local businesses. And we've been working with med spas that entire time. So for 10 years, I've been helping small businesses and med spas with their digital marketing. Our business is rated 5 stars on Google. We don't have anything other than a 5-star rating. We don't require any long-term contracts, so that we have clients that are really happy working with us, which I think speaks a lot about the results that we've been able to obtain. I've been featured in CIO.com, Search Engine Watch, Bank of America Small Business Forum, and more. In this video, I'm going to show you how I achieved those those features and how you can do that for your spa and how that ties into SEO. So I've also been performing SEO work for businesses of all sizes since 2011. There's no catch. I'm not going to like leave this webinar, like cut it off at the half point and then tell you need to pay me money to get the rest of the information. We're going to go over everything here. Nothing. We're completely going behind the curtain here today. So our mission as a business is to help triple the annual revenue for over 100 spas in the next 5 years. And whether that's with our free information or with working with us as clients, our mission is to help spas grow and succeed. So if you want to download the checklist that accompanies this SEO tutorial, I've shared the link right there. So it's bit.ly/SEO for med spas. So I'll leave this here for a second. Feel free to pause if you want to jot that down and go grab that cheat sheet. All right. So first thing, we need to understand how Google search works. So essentially, somebody's going to go to Google. They're going to perform a search. Let's say it's cool sculpting near me. So they go to Google. They perform a search, cool sculpting near me. Now Google is going to gather all the websites that they have that they think may be relevant to that search. Okay, they're going to show the sites. So they've got this whole pile of sites. Let's say it's 100 different websites that they think might be relevant or somewhat relevant for cool sculpting near me at various levels. So then they're going to pick, well, we think based on some signals that these sites are the sites that are worthy of showing at 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6, and so on. So they're going to show those in an order that, based on what they think is most relevant and authoritative. And so the question is, how do they determine what site is most relevant and authoritative? So first thing you need to do when it comes to SEO is make sure your basic SEO fundamentals are in place. This is so easy. Like I guarantee you, there are going to be people, 30%, 40% of you that watch this video are going to see this slide. It's so basic, and you're going to go to your website. And you're going to figure out there's some super quick wins that you can implement immediately to see SEO improvements. So you need a page for each service that you offer. So don't have a dermal fillers page where you just talk about every single dermal filler you offer. Have a page for Botox, have a page for Juvederm, have a page for Dysport. Google needs a specific page for the specific service in order to display that relevant result to the user. So on that page, super simple, make sure you have the service name and the city served in the page title. So also include the service name and the city served in the page heading. So if it's Botox, Austin, Texas, it's Botox, Austin, Texas, Ricky's Med Spa. That's the page title. And then the page heading, Botox in Austin, Texas. And then you can put a secondary heading that's got some more marketing language. But you just need to include that information on the page title and in the page heading so that when Google's crawling and gathering information, they understand that you offer that service in that city. It's so basic, and so many websites don't have this basic SEO fundamental in place. On top of that, you really want to make sure your pages give an in-depth perspective and overview of the service. So include before and afters. Go really in-depth about the service and what it entails. Include reviews and testimonials. Include video or audio. One of the things we like to do is record an audio and just upload it to like SoundCloud of the practitioner talking about the service and the experience and what that service can do, and embed those audio files on the page. So it's like another way for people to gather that info. Answer commonly asked questions. Do like an FAQ. What questions do patients have about that service? Answer those on the page. And then have a prominent call to action and a next step. So book an appointment. Is there a new patient special offer? What does that look like? And then once they're going through with booking, like be really clear with your call to actions. If you're saying schedule an appointment and they're going through and they actually can pick a time, that's fine. If you're saying schedule an appointment and they're filling out a form, you need to explain what's going to happen. Request an appointment would make more sense if they're filling out a form. Request a callback. And our team will call you to finalize your appointment booking. Just be really clear with what the next steps are in order to get someone into the office. So here's an example of that. Our page title here, spider vein treatment, and sclerotherapy is an alternate term for spider vein treatment. So spider vein treatment, sclerotherapy in West Palm Beach, and then the practice name. On our page heading, same thing, sclerotherapy in West Palm Beach, Florida. So that's your basic on-page SEO. If you do those things and you haven't done those things for your service pages, track your rankings if you can, even if it's just manually by performing a Google search on your computer. We've seen sites go from page 3, page 4 to page 1 just from doing that, especially if you've been in business for a while. This is a really extreme example. We worked with a retail business years ago that just by doing that on-page SEO, they were in a really niche product field. And just by doing that on-page SEO, they went from doing $750 a month to $7,500 a month because they weren't ranking in Google for those search terms. And just by doing on-page SEO, they ended up ranking #1 for some of the brands that they carried. So going back to that slide. So assuming your competitors have all done that basic on-page SEO, what's going to determine, so let's say everybody's done that and Google has 30 different websites that have very clearly explained that they offer cool sculpting in Austin, Texas. What's going to determine who ranks #1 and who's nowhere to be found? A lot of that comes down to off-page SEO. So we've got on-page SEO and off-page SEO. And essentially, these are the only two components that you really need to worry about day to day. There are some other nuances and intricacies. You can go look up SEO ranking factors and you'll find lists of 100, 150 things, but a lot of it boils down to these two elements. So real quick, on that first part, on-page SEO, page content and depth is extremely important. So please don't overlook that. Make your pages very, very in-depth and use that little bulleted list that I provided to build out each and every service page on your site. It's going to help you in the rankings. It's going to help you convert more traffic once the traffic's coming in into booked appointments too. But when it comes to off-page SEO, what we're really trying to do is Google's going to basically determine what site is more authoritative, in part by how many other trusted websites have mentioned and linked to your business. So we call that domain authority. And that's just an SEO term. But essentially, if your competitor is listed and referenced and mentioned on all these other trusted and authoritative websites and nobody's really talking about you, they're going to outrank you, all other things equal. So you want to make sure that you're being proactive about earning inbound links and mentions from other trusted websites. So what can we do to earn those inbound links? First thing we can do, we want to see where your competitors are earning links. So what sites are linking to them? Are they a member of the local chamber? Are they participating in certain local events? Are they in a niche industry trade association that you're not in? Are they on a practice finder that you're not located on? Did they get some press hits that are giving them major SEO power? So to do that, we can use some free tools. One of them is ahrefs.com/backlink-checker. That's a free tool. And what you'll want to do there is plug in some of your top competitor sites, and it will literally show you where they are earning links. So real quick, let's pop one of these up. Let's go do this real quick. And let's say we're competing for just med spas in Boston, Massachusetts. Just pull one of the sites that's ranking. Boston Medical Aesthetics, they're ranking really well. So let's see what might be driving their rankings. You plug your competitor's homepage in right there, click check backlinks, and you'll see some of the places that have mentioned them and linked to them. So they have a sponsored link, which really shouldn't help SEO, but it's still interesting marketing perspective. They're in Boston Magazine. They're on this wimgo.com site. I'm not sure what that is, but worth looking into for sure. It's got a pretty strong domain authority. 3bestrated.com, med spas in Boston. They have Yellow Pages listing. They're on Groupon. They've got a Bird Eye listing. They're in the Better Business Bureau. MapQuest, down in Bradstreet. They livingsocial.com. They've had a special running on Living Social. Owler. They've got a listing on Beauty Seeker. Let's see what else. BizVote, StoreFound. Discover Our Town directory listing. So you can go through this and you can see all the different sites that are linking to them. And I think this only shows you some of the sites. I think that's the downside of this free version, if I'm correct. Yeah, want to see all backlinks, try us. I would recommend probably signing up for a trial of one of these softwares, either Ahrefs or maybe Moz.com, Moz.com. And you can really get a really clear picture, but this is a good way to start. Just look at some of the places that your competitors are earning links and replicate those successes. So back to where we were. Try some of those free tools to figure out where your competitors are earning links. Look at local organizations and community involvement. Are there places that you can get involved locally that have like online directories of businesses that participate or sponsor certain events or that are involved in certain organizations, like your local BNI group, for example? If you're in a chapter, they'll have links back to your site, Chamber of Commerce, sponsoring a local sports team. All of those things can help your SEO efforts. So this is why a lot of times you'll notice practices that seem like just big practices, they seem like they're everywhere and just doing a lot when it comes to marketing. A lot of times they dominate in the search rankings and they're not even being super proactive thinking about it from an SEO perspective, but they're doing so much offline that translates into online SEO success. So Chamber of Commerce, local meetups, sponsorship, blogger features, high value industry associations, certifications, and then PR and news features. And I'm going to give you a great tool here. So I mentioned earlier that I was featured in CIO.com, Bank of America Small Business Forum, Search Engine Watch. This is a free tool, helpareporter.com, Haro. And basically what that is it's a list of journalists that are looking for sources for articles. So they send out a list 3 times a day, and it's got a whole long, basically bulleted list of journalists that are writing an article about something that they need an expert to comment on. And when you respond to those as the expert and pitch your tips for inclusion, you can earn links back to your site that are super strong, super authoritative from really credible sites. And those are links your competitors can never easily replicate. So this is my number one, my favorite link building strategy, is to use Help a Reporter out and respond with your insights. It's a totally free tool. So make sure to grab that link there. helpareporter.com. You just need the basic free subscription to get those newsletters. So just some examples. I was just working on a practice. This is a medical practice that's in a different field, but this was a good example because they're really good at keeping up with it. So they're in the Maryland area. They were featured on, they have a directory listing on the Baltimore Sun's website because they have a small business directory, local business directory. We're listed there. We found out the state of Maryland government site has resources on their website for deaf and hard of hearing, and they list certain organizations. They weren't just like listing you willy-nilly. So we reached out and we were able to be listed on this official website for the state government of Maryland. Really authoritative link back to the site. Everyday Health. They were featured in our articles. We just had a med spa today featured in Everyday Health that just came through today. And these are the Help a Reporter outlinks. So they responded to a potential an article where the journalist needed an expert source. Their tips were included with a link back to their site. Those are amazing links. We found through some competitor research that one of our competitors was listed as the business of the week on this local blog for Harford County. So we reached out to the contacts at the blog, pitched ourselves for a business of the week feature, got a business of the week feature with a link back to our site. Great press, great link that helps our SEO efforts. Another example of something that came with the Help a Reporter tool, a really high domain authority site, the Daily Meal. They linked to one of our clients whose tips they featured as a result of using that tool. We've even been creative, like things like if you're doing content marketing and you're doing it effectively, and I'll get to this later too. So this particular med spa, they were wanting to drum up more business for middle-aged men for hormone therapy, testosterone therapy. And we said, okay, well, what are some ways with content that we can connect with that audience? And for a little short run, we did a podcast, a local golf podcast that we produced. And that local golf podcast got listed on worldgolf.com under a list of our favorite golf podcasts. So how cool is that? Like, that's a really high domain authority link back to that spa's website from that type of strategy. You can see it there, Palm Beach Golfcast. It was short-lived, but that link is still live today. So that's an overview of off-page SEO and link prospecting. That kind of is the secret juice to outranking your competitors. Earning inbound links and boosting your authority, your domain authority, is really going to give you that leg up. So be cognizant of that, be on top of that, and be diligent about the things that you're doing to proactively earn those inbound links. Have some of your marketing budget set aside, on even your SEO budget, for pursuing some of those link opportunities, getting involved in certain organizations or local events that are going to help you boost your link profile. Number 3, just to quickly go over the Google business listing. You just want to make sure you claim and optimize your listing. Fill out this is really simple. Just fill out all of the relevant info and category tags. Make sure they're all correct, that they make sense. Add as many images you can, professional images of the team, the offices, the rooms, logos, things like that. You can add your service list in detail. Make sure you add your service list because that is not necessarily something most people have done. So go ahead and check. Make sure you add your actual service list instead of just the categories. Have a proactive review strategy with a HIPAA-compliant review management tool. We recommend GatherUp. If you have another tool, Bird Eye, Podium, whatever else you're using is fine. This is the one that we just use and recommend. But don't be afraid to blast out review requests. Every person that comes into your office should receive a review request. These are super important because the number of reviews on your Google My Business listing that outweighs the star rating. So you are better off having 200 reviews and a 4.6 star rating on your profile than you are having a perfect 5-star rating and only 10 reviews, because Google rewards the businesses that look like they're busier. So by having more reviews, you look bigger and busier, and it's a more robust representation of your reputation. If you look for restaurants in your area, for example, you'll notice a lot of the restaurants that pop up are the restaurants that have 300, 400, 500 reviews. And the new restaurant in town with 5 reviews, even though they might all be 5 stars, they're not showing up. So the volume of reviews, the number of reviews is very, very, very important. Do everything you can to boost the number of reviews to your Google business listing. Don't be afraid to get a bad review. Like I said, it's better to have that 4.6 with hundreds of reviews than it is to have perfect 5 stars with only 10 people who left reviews. So on top of that, you want to make sure that any other local directories that you have your presence listed and that it's optimized in those other directories. So we use a tool called moz.com/local to do some of that just as a baseline. It'll get some of like what we call data aggregators. It'll get your information up to date and consistent on those sites, and then perform some Google searches. So let's go back to Google real quick, and let's say I'm looking for med spas in Boston. What are the other sites that show up? Yelp is the first thing that shows up. It's the #1 organic listing. So you better be optimizing your Yelp listing and being proactive about building that out, making sure the category tags are proper, that your image looks good, that you're asking customers in person for reviews and doing what you can to try to generate some reviews on Yelp. So reverse engineer that. Figure out what sites are actually showing up and do your best to optimize your profile on those directories. Groupon, Real Self, if you're a doctor, ZocDoc and Vitals. And then are you on Practice Finders? This is another great way to look for links and just those citations. Like Allergan, they have a Practice Finder. Make sure that you're actually listed there with your website link. Cool Sculpting, same thing. Any other service that you offer, check to see if they have a Practice Finder. Talk to your rep and make sure that you're listed there with all of the relevant information. Number 5, don't let technical issues hold you back. So this is a little complicated. Most of the time, there are not going to be, you'll get those reports in email that make it sound like your website's a total disaster. And most of the time, those are just BS sales tools. Really, there are very few times that we see major issues on a technical crawl report. So I wouldn't worry a ton about this, but there are things to look for, like if you have page URLs that have changed without proper redirects, if there are broken page links, pages that are no longer active that had earned links, sites really loading slow, or you might even have code on your site that's blocking search engines from indexing in rare cases. If you want to double check that, you can email me, ricky@medspamagicmarketing.com, and we will run a free crawl report for you. Just mention that you came from this training, this video, and we'll do that for you at no cost with our Moz tools if you want to double check. So 6th little bonus tip, because this is kind of a pet peeve of mine, and it's, are you wasting time and money with your blog? If you're doing stuff like this and writing how to reduce cellulite, and that's the type of stuff you're blogging about, then the answer is probably yes. And the reason being, if you're producing content like that with the thought that it's going to help you from an SEO perspective, a few things are happening. You create content, one, to try to attract organic search traffic. So maybe someone's going to Google and they're typing in how to reduce cellulite, right? And your idea is, I'm going to create that content because I want to rank for it. Well, the problem is, this is a national search phrase. So there are sites all over the country, thousands of different websites, big media sites that have written articles on how to reduce cellulite, news articles. So the chances of your practice writing an article about how to reduce cellulite and ranking that post are minimal to none. So for that reason, if that's the thought process, it's probably a waste of your money. Even if you were to rank for some of these search terms and people were to find you, let's say you get 50 people a month that actually somehow find your blog from search. Well, if you're in Austin, Texas, and 50 people found your blog, but not a single one of them was in Austin, they're scattered around the rest of the United States, then it's not doing you any good. So for this reason, we generally recommend avoiding this type of blog strategy because it doesn't tie into an SEO benefit. These are also not generally helping you earn inbound links. They're not going to get picked up most of the time. Other websites aren't going to link to and reference your version of the How to Reduce Cellulite article. So from an SEO perspective, they really can be kind of a suck on your resources without producing a major business benefit. And for that reason, I recommend staying away from this type of blog strategy unless you're doing it for minimal investment. It's a small part of what you're doing, and you accept that you're writing this type of content just to engage your existing audience. You want it for social content. You want it for your email newsletter. That's fine, but know that from an SEO perspective, this is probably a waste of time. We've got some other strategies that we like to use for blogging. Local guide content is really, like, we love doing that for our clients. Especially since we only work with one client per city, it's a really effective strategy. We'll create local guide content on their blog, like targeted at our local markets, like best public golf courses in Harford County, Maryland, right? So now if there's a person that's in our target demo, middle-aged man that might benefit from testosterone therapy, and they go Google best golf courses, Harford County, there are not that many people that have created that blog post. If we do a really good job of making it robust, we rank those at a really high rate. And now we have traffic from our local market coming into our site each and every day. And then on the sidebar, we throw a nice call to action for our testosterone therapy consultation. So that can be an effective strategy that ties into a business benefit way more. And it seems counterintuitive. Like, I'm a doctor. Why am I going to write about best local golf courses instead of writing how to reduce cellulite? Or, I'm an NP, nurse practitioner, or I'm running a spa. Why would I write about best golf courses in my area instead of how to reduce cellulite? Because it's going to actually attract attention from your target audience and hopefully actually tie into a business objective. This, a lot of times, other than engaging with your existing audience, is not an effective SEO strategy. So I mentioned you can get some freebies here. If you want these freebies, shoot me an email, ricky@medspamagicmarketing.com. I'll send you our ultimate checklist, and we'll do that free SEO rank report and crawl report for you as well. So ricky@medspamagicmarketing.com to claim those. So last, don't forget to leverage Google Ads. SEO for a new practice, especially that you don't have a lot of those naturally built up inbound links, and you're starting from scratch with like a zero domain authority and nobody's ever talked about you or referenced you, it's going to be an uphill climb and it's going to take a while to rank in search. So if that's you, leverage Google Ads. With Google Ads, you only pay when somebody clicks on your ad after performing a specific search for your services in the city that you serve, assuming it's set up correctly. So don't be afraid to leverage Google Ads for the services that you want to promote at the most, like the things that you're really trying to drum up additional business for. Do not be afraid to leverage Google Ads. It's generally the #1 strategy we recommend for driving quick results and lead gen. I've got a free training on that too. So you can check that out on YouTube. If you go to our website, it's on our blog, medspamagicmarketing.com, or if you go to YouTube, free Google Ads guide for med spas. You should find it on Google. I think it comes up on page 1 for even Google Ads for med spas, but that's what the screenshot looks like. So if you want to go find that on YouTube, we go through our entire process for free from start to finish on how we set up, optimize, and manage Google Ads. So if you're a practice that needs help with some of this stuff, so obviously you might be looking at this because you just want to manage your efforts more effectively. We hope you stay tuned and consume our content. We hope you get a lot of value from this ongoing. But if you're a practice that needs help with implementation, we'd love to talk to you. We're rated 5 stars on Google. We're HIPAA verified with Compliancy Group, and we've been serving med spas like yours for over 10 years. So if that's you, our phone number's there at the bottom, 615-819-6033. You can visit our site and schedule your free strategy session at medspamagicmarketing.com. So thanks. Hope you enjoyed this training, and we'll catch you on the next one.